हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द लाइव सेशन। तो आज हम करने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी पॉलिटी का टेस्ट सीरीज। जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे सेट 6। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का टेस्ट सीरीज। और आप भी मेरे साथ अटेंड कीजिए, और अगर आपको आंसर आता है तो मुझे चैट में बताइए। तो हमारा फर्स्ट का क्वेश्चन है, which of the following statements is wrong? The President of India appoints the Chief Justice and judges of the Supreme Court. The President of India can consult the Supreme Court on any question of law or fact. The President of India can remove the judges of Supreme Court on grounds of misbehavior. The President of India can grant pardon, reprieve, and respite to persons awarded punishment. तो इसमें रॉन्ग पूछा है, तो इसका आंसर होगा ऑप्शन सी। The President of India can remove the judges of Supreme Court on grounds of misbehavior. Second question is, the Indian Supreme Court is a court of records. This means it has power to punish for contempt of court. It can punish for comment on its administrative side. Its judgments are recorded for testimony. Select the correct answers using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन बी 1 and 3. It has power to punish for contempt of court. It can punish for comment on its administrative side. तो 1 and 3 में है, it has power to punish for contempt of court or its judgments are recorded for testimony. Consider the following: Lok Sabha, Legislative Assembly, Rajya Sabha, Legislative Council. A money bill can originate in which among the above? तो इसका आंसर है बी 1 and 2, लोक सभा एंड लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. The advice of the Supreme Court is not binding on the President, binding on the President, binding only in some cases, binding if tendered unanimously. तो इसका आंसर है not binding on the President. In which of the case mentioned below, the Supreme Court gave the verdict that waving of national flag throughout the year in private building is a part of freedom of speech and expression? Balaji Raghavan versus Union of India case, B. Emmanuel versus State of Kerala case, Menka Gandhi versus Union of India case, Navin Jindal versus Union of India case. इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन डी, नवीन जिंदल वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया केस. Consider the following statements. There are 21 high courts in the country, 3 having jurisdiction over more than one state. Among union territories, only Delhi and Puducherry have high courts of their own. तो इसका आंसर है बी, both 1 and 2 are incorrect. तो 7 है assertion and reason. तो देखते हैं, इसका assertion है the Supreme Court is the guardian of the fundamental rights of the citizens. Reason: under Article 32, the Supreme Court is bound to issue writs for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. तो इसका आंसर है Option A, both assertion and reason are individually true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. The doctrine of severability advocated in connection with the judicial review means the Supreme Court can substitute new provisions for the objectionable portions of law to make it conform to the provisions of the Constitution. The Supreme Court has to declare the entire law as void, even if some portions of the law contravene the Constitution. The Supreme Court can declare only such portion of law as void which is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. None of the above. तो इसका आंसर है C. The Supreme Court can declare only such portion of law as void which is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution. In a parliamentary democracy, the executive controls the legislative. Executive and legislative are strictly separate. Judiciary controls both legislature and executive. Legislature control the executive. तो इसका आंसर है D. Legislature controls the executive. Who decides disputes regarding the disqualification of members of parliament? The President, the Consent House, the Election Commission, the President in consultation with the Election Commission. इसका आंसर है D. The President in consultation with the Election Commission. Rajya Sabha is inferior to Lok Sabha in many aspects and thus has unequal status with respect to it in many cases. These include approval of ordinances, approval of national emergency, voting on demand for grants. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है C. 3 only. Voting on demand for grants. If the President returns a bill to the legislature for reconsideration, a repassage of the bill by 2/3 majority will compel him to give his assent. A repassage of the bill by simple majority will compel him to give his assent. A joint sitting will have to be called to pass it again. The legislature must accept amendments proposed by the President. तो इसका आंसर है B. A repassage of the bill by simple majority will compel him to give his assent. Which of the following are the functions of the estimate committee? It prepares the estimates of expenditure for the ensuing year. It suggests alternative policies with a view to bring about efficiency and economic in administration. It suggests the forms in which the estimates are to be presented to the parliament. It examines whether the money is well laid out within the limit of the policy implied in the estimates. तो इसका आंसर है A. 2, 3 and 4. It suggests alternative policies with a view to bring about efficiency and economic in administration. It suggests the forms in which the estimates are to be presented to the parliament. It examines whether the money is well laid out within the limit of the policies implied in the estimate. The Parliament of India is consisted of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and President, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President and Prime Minister, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and Council of Ministers. तो इसका आंसर है B. लोक सभा, राज्य सभा and President. Which of the following are means by which Parliament controls the financial system? Parliament has to authorize the levy or collection of any tax. Money can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India only if Parliament sanctions it. Through the financial committees that scrutinize government expenditure, it causes the budget to be laid before it every year. This answer D 1 to 3. Parliament has to authorize the leave or collection of any tax. Money can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India only if Parliament sanctions it through the financial committees that scrutinize government expenditure. The Indian Parliament is not sovereign. This is because of institution of CAG as a supreme auditor, judicial review, federal system of government. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. So answer is C 2 and 3, judicial review and federal system of government. The Rajya Sabha can be dissolved before expiry of its term by the President, the Vice President who is ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the President on recommendation of the Council of the Ministers. None of this. This answer is D. None of this. Proclamation of President's rule in a state can be made when a bill introduced by the state government is defeated in the state legislature. If the President, on receipt of report from the Governor of the state, is satisfied that a situation is likely to arise in which the government of the state cannot be carried out or carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, if the President, on receipt of a report from the Governor of the state or otherwise, is satisfied that a situation has arisen in which the government of the same of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the government with the provisions of the Constitution, when the Governor and the Chief Minister of a state differ on a vital issue. तो इसका आंसर है C. If the President, on receipt of a report from the Governor of the state or otherwise, is satisfied that a situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The Committee of Indian Parliament which has the largest membership is Committee on Privileges, the Public Accounts Committee, the Estimate Commission, the Committee on Public Undertakings. This answer है the Estimates Committee. The President can make use of his discretionary powers when there is a dispute between the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, when no party has majority in the Lok Sabha and he has to choose a Prime Minister, when the ruling party loses its majority in the Lok Sabha and recommends for dissolution of the House, when he decides to refer the advice of the Union Cabinet back for reconsideration. तो इसका आंसर है C 2, 3 and 4. When no party has majority in the Lok Sabha and he has to choose a Prime Minister, when the ruling party loses its majority in the Lok Sabha and recommends for dissolution of the House, when he decides to refer the address of the upper Union Cabinet back for reconsideration. Which of the following statements are correct? Article 19 is automatically suspended if the national emergency is proclaimed on the grounds of armed rebellion. The fundamental rights are justiciable. The fundamental rights under Article 20 and 21 are can never be suspended. The fundamental rights are human rights. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है B, 2, 3 and 4. The fundamental rights are justiciable. The fundamental rights are under Article 20 and 21 can never be suspended. The fundamental rights are human rights. Which one of the following is not stated as the directive principles of state policy in the Constitution of India? Organization of village panchayats, uniform civil code for the citizens, separation of judiciary from executive, right of minorities to establish and administer educational institute. तो इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन डी, राइट ऑफ माइनॉरिटीज टू एस्टेब्लिश एंड एडमिनिस्टर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट. The executive authority of the Union is vested by the Constitution in the Prime Minister, President, Cabinet, Union Legislature. तो इसका आंसर है बी, President. In a criminal case, an appeal lies to the Supreme Court if the High Court has convicted the accused and awarded him death sentence, has on appeal reversed an order for acquittal of an accused and sentenced him to an imprisonment of 10 years or more, has withdrawn for trial before itself any case from a subordinate court, and has in such trial convicted the accused and sentenced him to death. तो इसका आंसर है बी, 2 and 3. Has on appeal reversed an order for acquittal of an accused and sentenced him to an imprisonment of 10 years or more, has withdrawn for trial before itself any case from a subordinate court, and has in such trial convicted the accused and sentenced him to death. Generally, the first session of the Parliament starts with an address of the President in which he makes a survey of the achievements of the government during the previous year. He makes suggestions to the government regarding the policies it should follow in the interest of the country. He outlines the policies and program of the government during the ensuing year. He does none of the above things. तो इसका आंसर है he outlines the policies and programs of the government during the ensuing year. When the chairman of Rajya Sabha acts as president, the duties of the chairman are performed by himself, a newly elected chairman, the deputy chairman, a member of Rajya Sabha deputed by the chairman. तो इसका आंसर है C, the deputy chairman. Which of the following is the requisite qualification for a candidate to be eligible for election as the President of India? Not less than 35 years of age, must not hold office of profit, must be eligible to become a member of Lok Sabha, must be a member of either House of Parliament. तो इसका आंसर है B, 1, not less than 35 years of age, must not hold office of profit, must be eligible to become a member of Lok Sabha. The financial powers of the President of India are: he is responsible for the preparation of the union budget and causes it to be laid before the Parliament. He appoints the chairman and members of the Finance Commission. No money bill can be introduced without his prior approval. All of this. तो इसका आंसर है D, all of this. Consider the following statements in respect of the ordinance promulgated by the President of India during the recess of Parliament. Such an ordinance shall be laid before both Houses of Parliament and shall cease to operate at the expiration of 6 weeks from the reassembly of Parliament or before that period, if disapproved by both Houses. Such an ordinance may be withdrawn at any time by the President. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन सी, both 1 and 2. Such an ordinance shall be laid before both houses of parliament and shall cease to operate at the expiration of 6 weeks from the reassembly of parliament or before that period, if disapproved by both houses. Such an ordinance may be withdrawn at any time by the President. The portfolios are allocated to the ministers by the President, the Prime Minister, collective decision of the Council of Ministers, individual choice. तो इसका आंसर है B, the Prime Ministers. The fundamental duties were included in the Constitution with the idea of giving more importance to the fundamental rights. to remind the citizen of the country that they have certain obligations towards the country and society, preventing abuse of fundamental rights, giving more power to the executive. इसका आंसर है बी, टू रिमाइंड द citizens of the country that they have certain obligations towards the country and societies. Which of the following are the fundamental duties given in the Constitution of India? To follow the principles of morality, to uphold and protect sovereignty and integrity, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to safeguard public property and to observe violence. Select the correct answer from below. तो इसका आंसर है D, 2, 3 and 4. To follow the principle of morality, to uphold and protect sovereignty and integrity, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to safeguard public property and to observe violence. The objective of including directive principles of state policy said that the state shall seek to ensure to establish a welfare state, to provide best opportunities for development, to check the arbitrary actions of the government, to establish a democratic state. तो इसका आंसर है to establish a welfare state. The basic difference between the fundamental rights and directive principles is fundamental rights are positive while directive principles are negative. Directive principles are given precedence over fundamental rights by the courts in all cases. Fundamental rights are justiciable while directive principles are not. None of the above. तो इसका आंसर है C. Fundamental rights are justiciable while directive principles are not. Which of the following is or are listed among the directive principles in Part 4? Equal pay for equal work, uniform civil code, small family norm, education through mother tongue at primary level. तो इसका आंसर है D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Equal pay for equal work, uniform civil code, small family norm, education through mother tongue at primary level. With reference to Armed Forces Special Powers Act, who among the following can declare an area as disturbed area? Governor, Chief Minister, Central Government. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है B, 1 and 3. Governor and Central Government. Writ of certiorari means an order to procure the body of a person. A writ issued by a superior court calling upon of the record of the proceeding in an inferior court for review. An order from the superior court to an official to show his right to the office. An order from the higher court to stop proceedings in a certain case. तो इसका आंसर है B. A writ issued by a superior court calling of the record of a proceedings in an inferior court for review. Whose statements is or are not correct regarding the fundamental rights? Some of these rights are not available to the armed forces. They are automatically suspended when an emergency is proclaimed by the president. The president alone can decide upon modifying their applications to the armed forces. They cannot be amended as they form the basic features of the constitution. इसका आंसर है B, 2, 3 and 4. इसमें नॉट करेक्ट पूछा है तो नॉट करेक्ट में आएगा दे आर ऑटोमेटिकली सस्पेंडेड व्हेन emergency is proclaimed by the president. The president alone can decide upon modifying their application to the armed forces. They cannot be amended as they form the basic features of the constitution. ये गलत है. Which of the following rights are included in cultural and educational rights? Right of linguistic minorities to promote their language, Right against discrimination for admission to educational institute on the grounds of religion, race, or caste. Right to the minorities to establish and administer their educational institution. All of this cancer. Right, right against discrimination for admission to the educational institutions on the grounds of religion, race, or caste. As a result of the Minerva Mills case, a law will be protected by Article 31C if it has been made to implement the directives in Article 39B and Article 39C. It has been made to implement any directive principles. It conflicts with the fundamental right. None of the above. Let's consider T. None of the above. Consider the following statements. The President is immune from any civil proceedings against him or her, but after giving 2 months' notice, criminal proceedings can be instituted against the President. Which of the statements given above is correct regarding the immunity enjoyed by the President in respect of his or her personal acts during his or her tenure? तो इसका आंसर है डी, neither one nor two. In which case did the Supreme Court hold that the preamble was not a part of the Constitution? Berubari case, Golaknath case, Kesavananda. इसका आंसर है ए 1 and 3. Berubari case and Kesavananda Bharati case. The legislative powers of the presidencies of Bombay and Madras, which were taken away by the Charter Act of 1833, were restored to them by Government of India Act 1859, Charter Act 1853, Indian Councils Act 1861, none of the above. तो इसका आंसर है Indian Councils Act 1861. India has signed the International Treaty for Prevention of Corruption. To implement this treaty throughout the country, the Parliament needs the consent of all states, at least half the state, 2 or more states, none. तो इसका आंसर है none. Which one of the following may be said to constitute the basic structure of the Constitution? Federal character of Constitution, secular nature of polity, mandate to build a welfare state, all of them. तो इसका आंसर है D, all of them. Which of the following points of criticism are labeled against the amendment procedure in the Indian Constitution? There is no provision for special convention for amendment of the Constitution as in the USA. Too much power has been given to the state in the matter of proposing amendments to the Constitution. The states have not been given sufficient powers with regard to amendment of the Constitution. Too much power has been given to the Union Parliament with regard to the amendment of the Constitution. इसका आंसर है A 1, 3 and 4. Consider the following statements regarding the Central Vigilance Commission. The office of CVC was established by the recommendations of Satnam Committee in 1964. The CBC holds the office for a tenure of 4 years. The jurisdiction of the CBC extends to the members of all India Service and Group A officers of central and state governors. The CBC reviews the program of investigation conducted by the Delhi Police Special Establishment. Which of the above statements is or are correct? इसका आंसर है D 1, 2 and 4. The Chief Election Commissioner can be removed from his office before expiry of his tenure by the President in consultation with the PM, the President, on the basis of a resolution passed by the Parliament. The Chief Election Commissioner cannot be removed until his tenure expires. Please consider C. The President on the basis of a resolution passed by the Parliament. Under which condition a candidate forfeits his deposit if he fails to win the election? If a candidate fails to obtain more than one-tenth of the total number of valid votes cast in his constituency, if a candidate fails to obtain more than one-sixth of the total number of valid votes cast in his constituency, none of this. So, इसका आंसर है if a candidate fails to obtain more than one-sixth of the total number of valid votes cast in his constituency. Consider the following statements. Parliament cannot alter the name and territory of J&K without the consent of the state legislature. No proclamation of emergency can be made by the President under Article 352 on the ground of international disturbance in J&K without the concurrence of J&K government. The Union shall have the power to suspend the state constitution on the ground of failure to comply with the direction given by the Union. The Union shall have no power to make a proclamation of financial emergency with respect to the state of J&K. Which of the statements given there is correct regarding the special provisions for the state of Jammu and Kashmir? तो इसका आंसर है C 1, 2 and 4. Consider the following statements regarding booth capturing in an election. It has been defined in the Constitution of India through an amendment. It includes the seizure of and taking possession of polling booths to prevent the orderly conduct of elections. It is also committed when any elector is threatened and prevented from going to the polling station to cast his vote. It has been declared a cognizable offence punishable by imprisonment. तो इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन ए 2, 3 and 4 are correct. The main objective of the zonal councils is or are to ensure greater cooperation amongst states in the field of planning and other matters of national importance, that the laws passed by the various states do not conflict with each other, better utilization of the limited resources of the state. तो इसका आंसर है D1 only, greater cooperation among state in field of planning and other matters of national importance. Under the Constitution, the central government collects various types of taxes which it has to share with the state governments. Which one of the following enjoys constitutional authority to decide the share of states in the tax? The Union Finance Minister, the Finance Commission, the Planning Commission, the Union Cabinet in consultation with the Finance Commission. तो इसका आंसर है बी, द फाइनेंस कमीशन. Which one of the following has been wrongly listed as a recommendation of the Sarkaria Commission? It has favored formation of inter-government council consisting of Prime Minister and Chief Ministers of states. It has favored liberal use of Article 356 of the Constitution in the interest of unity and integrity of the country. It has turned down the demand for the abolition of the office of the governor. It has favored the implementation of the three-language formula in the interest of unity and integrity of the country. इसका आंसर है बी. It has favored liberal use of Article 356 of the Constitution in the interest of unity and integrity of the country. इसमें wrongly listed पूछा था. The Election Commission of India consists of Chief Election Commissioner and two Election Commissioners. With regard to these two officials, which of the following is correct? CEC and EC receive equal salary. CEC and EC are provided with security of tenure. In case of difference of opinion amongst them, the view of CEC prevails. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है A, one only. CNC and EC receive equal salary. The sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution deals with the administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in the four states of Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura and Nagaland, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Nagaland. तो इसका आंसर है बी, असम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा एंड मिजोरम. Consider the following statements and choose the correct answer from the codes given below. In tribal areas of Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, and Mizoram, as specified in Para 20 of 6th Schedule, discretionary powers are given to governor in matter relating to sharing the royalties between district councils and state government. In Sikkim, governor has been given special responsibility for peace and social and economic advancement of different sections of populations. तो इसका आंसर है B, two only. Correct statement with regard to union territory is or are: the Parliament can make laws on any subset of three lists of the UT except for the UT except Delhi and Puducherry. The Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is not empowered to promulgate ordinances. तो इसका आंसर है D. None. Consider the following statements in respect of financial emergency under Article 360 of the Constitution of India. A proclamation of financial emergency issued shall cease to operate at the expiration of 2 months unless before the expiration of that period it has been approved by the resolution of both houses of parliament. If any proclamation of financial emergency is in operation, it is competent for the President of India to issue direction for the reduction of salaries and allowances of all or any class of persons serving in connection with the affairs of the Union, but excluding the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Please consider C both 1 and 2. Which of the following emergency can be declared by the President on his own? Emergency on account of armed rebellion, financial emergency, President's rules in a state. तो इसका आंसर है D. None of the above. Which of the following committees recommended that the elections to the Panchayati Raj institution should be held on party line? Dhar Committee, K. Santaram Committee, बलवंत राय मेहता कमेटी, अशोक मेहता कमेटी. तो इसका आंसर है डी. अशोक मेहता कमेटी. A college student desires to get elected to the municipal council of his city. The validity of his nomination would depend on the important condition, among others, that he obtains permission from the principal of his college, he is a member of a political party, his name figures in the voters list, he filed a declaration owing allegiance of the Constitution of India. This answer is C. His name figures in the voters list. Which of the following are provided for by the Constitution 74 Amendment Act in respect of planning commission, planning of urban and rural local government? Constitution of the District Planning Committee: not less than 2/3 of the District Planning Committee should be elected from amongst the elected members of District Panchayat and municipalities. All other details regarding the composition of the District Planning Committee are left to the state legislature. Constitution of the Metropolitan Planning Committee. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है C 1, 3 and 4. Who consolidates the plans prepared by the panchayats and municipalities in the district? State Planning Commission, Public Accounts Committee, District Planning Commission, District Planning and Development Council. तो इसका आंसर है C. District Planning Commission. One of the advantages of the Panchayati Raj is that of providing a parallel government in rural areas, of serving the rural people well, of increasing the employment opportunities in rural areas, giving a sense of political awareness to the rural masses. तो इसका आंसर है D. Giving a sense of political awareness to the rural masses. Which of the following is not one of the grounds for disqualification for being elected as a member of parliament? If the person holds an office of profit under the state government, if the person has voluntarily acquired citizenship of a foreign state, if a person is so disqualified under the 10th schedule, if the person has or had been detained under the preventive detention law. तो इसका आंसर है ई ओनली 4. Which of the bills are introduced in the state legislature with the consent of the president? Money bill, financial bill, a bill under Article 3, a bill for reasonable restriction on interstate trade or commerce. तो इसका आंसर है a bill for reasonable restriction on interstate trade or commerce. The salaries and allowances of the Council of Ministers of the state government are paid from the Reserve Bank of India, Treasury of the state government, contingency fund of the state, consolidated fund of the state. इसका आंसर है डी consolidated fund of the states. Consider the following articles of the Constitution of India. Article 72, pardoning power of the President. Article 143, advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Article 360, provisions relating to the financial emergency. Article 148 to 151, powers and functions of the Attorney General of India. Which among the above articles are paired correctly with their respective provisions? तो इसका आंसर है B 1, 2 and 3. The directive principles of state policies are not enforceable by law, but there is one among the given options which has been so far made enforceable by a Supreme Court fiat. Identify that DPSP from the given options. Uniform Civil Code, free education till the children complete age of 6 years, provision after 86th Amendment Act, equal pay for equal work, prohibition of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health. तो इसका आंसर है C, equal pay for equal work. Proclamation of President's rule in a state can be made when a bill introduced by the state government is debated in the state legislature if the President on receipt of report from the governor of the state is satisfied that a situation is likely to arise in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. If the President on receipt of a report from the governor of the state or otherwise is satisfied that a situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, when the governor and the chief minister of state differs on vital issue. तो ये क्वेश्चन फिर से रिपीट हुआ है और इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन सी. Which of the following is not reserved by the governor for the consideration of the president? Bills affecting powers of the high courts, bills relating to compulsory acquisition of property, bills seeking to impose restriction of the interstate trade, bills relating to imposition of taxes on agricultural income. तो इसका आंसर होगा डी, bills relating to imposition of taxes on agricultural income. Which of the following is not correct about Finance Commission? The members of the commission are appointed by the President of India. It is to act as a balancing wheel on the Indian fiscal federalism. The qualification of members of the commissions are determined by the president. It is constituted every 5 years as per the provisions of Article 280 of the Constitution. तो इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन सी. The qualification of members of the Constitution are determined by the Parliament. Which of the following is correct with regard to the office of Attorney General of India? He is a member of the cabinet. He can speak in either house of parliament and vote on any house. He must be qualified to become a judge of the Supreme Court. His remuneration is fixed by parliament. तो इसका आंसर है ऑप्शन सी 3 only. He must be qualified to become a judge of the Supreme Court. Select the correct sequence of the following sentences. Voting is reduced from 21 years to 18 years. Rights to property deleted from the list of fundamental rights. Sikkim became a state of the Indian Union. Hindu versions of Constitution was accepted officially. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर होगा सी. लगेगा 3, फिर आएगा 2, फिर 4 और फिर लास्ट में 1. The original jurisdiction of the High Court includes disputes related to the election of MPs, disputes related to the financial election of MLAs, cases related to murder. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है A1 and 2 only. Consider the following statements in context with legislative procedures as center. A money bill can be referred to a joint committee of the houses. A motion for introduction of a finance bill or as appropriation bill is in neither house of parliament. Which among the above statements is or are correct? तो इसका आंसर है D, both 1 and 2. On which of the following subjects does the Finance Commission of a state constituted under the particular line of the Constitution of India make recommendation to the governor? Distribution between the states and the panchayats of the net proceeds of the taxes, duties, tolls, and liable by the tax. Determination of the state taxes during duties, tolls, and fees which may be assigned to or appropriated by the panchayats. Grants in aid to the panchayats from the consolidated funds of the state. Select the correct answer using the code given below. तो 7 इसका आंसर है A, 1, 2 and 3. Which of the committee of the parliament is concerned with putting a financial check on the executive? Committee on Public Undertaking, Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, Advisory Committee. तो इसका आंसर है Public Accounts Committee. Which of the following functions of the Minorities Commission have been correctly listed? It can make recommendations for effective implementation and enforcement of safeguards and laws for minorities. It undertakes reviews of the implementations of policies formulated by the union and state governments with regard to minorities. It can look into specific complaints regarding deprivation of rights and safeguards of minorities. तो इसका आंसर है डी 1, 2 and 3. Who among the following are appointed by the President of India? The Chairman Finance Commission, the Deputy Chairman, the Deputy Chairman Planning Commission, the Chief Minister of a Union Territory. Choose the correct answer from the course given below. तो इसका आंसर है A1 only, the Chairman Finance Commission. Which one of the following statements is correct? Neither the Finance Commission nor the Planning Commission is a constitutional body. The scope of the Finance Commission is limited to a review of revenue segment of the budget, while the Planning Commission takes an overall review embracing both capital and revenue requirements of the states. No one can be a member of both the Finance Commission and the Planning Commission at the same time. There is no overlapping of work and responsibilities of the Finance Commission and those of the Planning Commission. तो इसका आंसर है B. The scope of the Finance Commission is limited to a review of revenue segment of the budget, while the Planning Commission takes an overall review embracing both capital and revenue requirements of the state. Consider the following statements about the affairs of backward classes. Which of the below given statements is or are correct? Until 1995, the affairs of the backward classes were looked after by the Backward Classes Cell in the Ministry of Home Affairs. In 1985, with the creation of a separate ministry, the affairs of the backward classes were looked after by the Ministry of Welfare. In 1998, the Ministry of Welfare was renamed as Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. इसका आंसर है C. All are correct. State Finance Commission is appointed by state government every 5 years to determine financial resources of state for placing states' requirement before the union government, development requirements of the state for formulating state 5 years plans, budgetary requirements of various departments of the state government, pattern of distribution of state tax revenue between the state government and local bodies, both rural and urban, and the pattern of grants in aid to local bodies. इसका आंसर है D. Pattern of distribution of state tax revenue between the state government and local bodies, both rural and urban, and the pattern of grants in aid to local bodies. The Constitution of India provides that trade, commerce, and intercourse throughout the territory of Union of India is free. However, despite this provision, a state in India can make law for imposing taxes on imports of goods from other states in India, provided the goods produced in other states are also taxed in their state in the same manner. Who decides whether the states can make such law or not? The state which is imposing law itself, the state which have interest in the taxes to be imposed, Parliament of India, President of India. इसका आंसर है D. President of India. In India, the Council of Ministers' responsibility to the Lok Sabha is individual responsibility, legal responsibility, collective responsibility. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. इसका आंसर है A, 1 and 3, individual responsibility and collective responsibility. With reference to removal of chairman of a state public service commission, consider the following statements. They can be removed for misbehavior. They can be removed only by the president. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? तो इसका आंसर है सी, both 1 and 2. Which of the following bodies concerned with interstate relations are constitutional? River water tribunals, interstate councils, zonal councils. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है B, 2 only, interstate councils. The Legislative Assembly of Delhi can make laws on which of the following matters? Public order, police, land. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. तो इसका आंसर है D, none. The preamble enshrines certain ideals that were first spelled out in the speech by Jawaharlal Nehru on the banks of Ravi when he called for Purna Swaraj. The Nehru Report, a resolution adopted at Karachi session of the Indian National Congress, the objective resolution adopted by the Constituent Assembly. तो इसका आंसर है D, the objective resolution adopted by the Constituent Assembly. In India, the first municipal corporation was set up in which one among the following? Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi. तो इसका आंसर है A, कोलकाता. Which one of the following government documents first suggested for having elections of Panchayati Raj institution or political party basis? Report of the Administrative Reforms Commission, Ashok Mehta Committee Report, बलवंत राय मेहता कमेटी रिपोर्ट, दिवाकर कमेटी रिपोर्ट. तो इसका आंसर है बी, अशोक मेहता कमेटी रिपोर्ट. The government issued a notification allowing voting rights for non-resident Indians recently. Which of the following is or are necessary conditions? The NRI has to be present in the constituency in the polling day. The NRI should not have acquired citizenship of the country of his residence. The NRI can vote only in the constituency mentioned in his or her passport address. तो इसका आंसर है D, 1, 2 and 3. Approval of which among the following authorities alone would be sufficient to draw funds from Consolidated Fund of India? Only Parliament, only President, either Parliament or President, both Parliament and President. तो इसका आंसर है ओनली पार्लियामेंट. तो इसी के साथ हमारा आज का टेस्ट सीरीज़ ख़त्म होता है. तो अगर आप चैनल पर न्यू हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आप डेली लाइव क्लास ज्वाइन कर सके. और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए. तो हमारा आज का सेशन यहीं तक था. थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग.